Let me tell you folks, if you think your neighborhood is quiet and friendly, just wait until the HOA decides you're public enemy number 1. I'm Mark Reynolds, 44, divorced dad of 2, and I thought moving to Willow Creek Estates 5 years ago would give me the peaceful suburban dream. Picture this. Rolling green lawns that look like they've been vacuumed every morning, white picket fences so perfect they could be in a magazine, kids riding bikes without a care, and that big community park right behind my backyard fence where I used to toss the football with my boy on weekends. Everybody waves. Everybody smiles. Everybody pretends the rules are there to keep things nice. Yeah, right. All that manicured perfection was a little dictatorship run by one woman who thought she was the queen of the cul-de-sac. Her name was Patricia Langley, Patty to her face, but we all called her Karen behind closed doors. 56, helmet hair sprayed stiff enough to deflect bullets, always in a pastel blazer with an HOA badge pinned like a sheriff's star. She patrolled the streets in her golf cart like she was hunting criminals, clipboard in one hand, phone in the other, ready to ruin your Saturday over a single dandelion. The first time she came for me was over my mailbox flag. I just replaced the old one after a storm. "Mister," she said, standing on my porch with that fake sweet smile. Section 4.2 clearly states flags must be navy blue, not black. This is a violation. I laughed. Actually laughed and said, "Patty, it's a flag, not a political statement." She didn't blink. Rules are what separate us from chaos. Mark. $50 fine. Or it doubles. I paid it. What else was I gonna do? But it kept coming. About 30 minutes too long. Another $75. My son's basketball hoop left on the driveway overnight. Visual blight, she called it. Then came the real kicker. I politely asked at the annual meeting why the HOA dues had jumped 20% with no explanation. Patty's face turned the color of a stop sign. "Some residents need to mind their own business," she snapped in front of everyone. From that day on, the fines rained down like confetti at a parade nobody wanted. Neighbors started crossing the street when they saw me, whispering behind their perfect hedges. "He's on her list," they'd murmur. I stayed quiet, though. The stupid fines. But every night I was on my laptop, quietly saving every email, every photo of her golf cart parked illegally on the curb, every security cam clip of her changing the community gate code without telling a soul. I wasn't fighting back yet. The neighborhood loved to gossip at block parties about how Patty keeps things orderly. They'd laugh nervously when she cited someone for Christmas lights staying up past January 15th. Meanwhile, I watched her little kingdom grow more ridiculous. No flags, no gnomes, no bird feeders. Grass must be exactly 2 inches or else. People joked she'd fine God for making it rain on a Tuesday. I just kept my head down and my evidence folder growing fatter. My kids noticed I was tense, but I told them Daddy was handling it. Little did I know the real storm was coming straight for my chest. That Monday morning started normal. Coffee, emails, the usual. Then around 10:30 the pain hit. Like someone parked a truck on my ribs. I knew immediately. Hands shaking, I dialed 911. The dispatcher was calm, professional. "Stay with me, sir." I gasped out Willow Creek Estates, gate code 4729. "They'll have it," she promised. I collapsed on the kitchen floor, phone still clutched, listening to the sirens getting closer. Relief washed over me for maybe 10 seconds. Then the sirens stopped dead at the gate. My heart was hammering so hard I could feel it in my teeth. The pain radiated down my left arm like fire. I could hear the ambulance idling just outside the wrought iron gate, lights flashing uselessly against the perfect white fences. Why weren't they coming? My phone rang, unknown number. I answered with what little strength I had left. "Sir, this is paramedic Ramirez. We're at the gate, but the code you gave isn't working. There's a woman here refusing to let us in." My blood turned to ice. I heard her voice through the phone, that shrill, self-righteous tone that had fined me into near bankruptcy. This is a private community. You do not have authorization. I changed the code this morning for security reasons. Ramirez sounded stunned. Life or death emergency. Dispatch has confirmed the resident is having a heart attack. We need to get through now. Patty's laugh was pure vinegar. Rules are rules, young man. Proper channels. Form online and maybe tomorrow the board will approve it. I don't care if it's an emergency. Liability, you understand. I was dying on my kitchen floor and this woman was talking liability. Dark humor hit me even through the pain. She'd finally found the one rule she could weaponize to kill someone. I wheezed into the phone. Ramirez, behind my house, big open park. Can you get a helicopter? Silence on the line. Then, a helicopter, sir? Yes, I gasped, vision tunneling. Land it in the park. Please hurry. I heard him relay it to his partner. Patty's voice cut in again, louder now. You cannot just fly over my gate. This is outrageous. I'll have you all cited. Ramirez ignored her. Reynolds, just stay with us. The line went quiet except for my ragged breathing. Every second felt like an hour. I thought about my kids at school, about never seeing them graduate, about how Patty Langley's ego was literally going to be the last thing I ever heard. Outside, I could still hear her arguing with the paramedics, her voice rising like a siren herself. I am the president of this homeowners association. You will respect the covenants or I'll sue the entire department. Neighbors were starting to peek out windows. I imagined them whispering, "Oh no, not again. Mark's on the list." The satire wasn't lost on me even as I faded. A woman who spent years fining people for bird feeders was now fining death itself for showing up without proper paperwork. Then I heard it, the faint thump 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 growing louder. The most beautiful sound in the world. The helicopter came in low over the trees, downdraft whipping my backyard into a green tornado. I dragged myself to the window just in time to see it touch down in the park. Grass flattening like it was bowing to the machine that was about to save my life. 2 flight medics vaulted my fence with a stretcher and full kit like Navy SEALs. They burst through my back door, voices calm but urgent. "Mister, you. Massive MI, but we're here. Oxygen mask, for monitors beeping like crazy." One medic actually chuckled darkly. "Buddy, that was the wildest dispatch call of my career. Helicopter over a Karen's gate? Legend." They loaded me fast. I got one clear look toward the front of the neighborhood. The ambulance was still stuck at the gate, lights spinning, and there stood Patty Langley, arms crossed, face purple with rage. The entire street was on their lawns now, Mr. Jenkins with his walker, the young couple from number 12, even the guy who always sided with her. They were watching the helicopter bypass her entire empire. Her little kingdom of rules had just been airlifted over. The flight was a blur of noise and medicine. At the hospital, they rushed me into cath lab. Doctors later told me those extra 9 minutes at the gate almost cost everything. Another 5 and we'd be having a different conversation, the cardiologist said. I was stable by evening, wired up like a Christmas tree, when my phone started exploding. That's when the twist hit, the part nobody saw coming. My neighbor, Mrs. Sweet, retired teacher who'd never said a word against Patty in 5 years, showed up at my hospital room with her tablet. "Mark, you need to see this." She played the video someone had filmed from their porch. Patty arguing with the paramedics, clear as day. But then she swiped to the security cam footage the board had accidentally left accessible in the shared drive. It showed Patty at 9:15 a.m., hours before my attack, walking to the gate keypad alone and deliberately changing the emergency override code. No board vote, no notification to fire or EMS like the bylaws required. And in the background audio, she muttered to herself, "That Reynolds thinks he can question my finances? Let's see how he likes locked out. Personal vendetta. Not security." Revenge. Mrs. whispered. I've been scared of her for years, but this is attempted murder with a clipboard. My evidence folder suddenly felt like a nuclear bomb. The twist wasn't just that she broke her own rules. It was that she'd been weaponizing the entire community's safety to settle a petty score. The video went nuclear inside the community chat before I even got discharged. People who'd been terrified of Patty for years suddenly found their spines. Comments flooded in. She changed the code out of spite? My mother had chest pain last year. What if it was her? The HOA board called an emergency meeting for that Friday. Patty tried to spin it, of course. She showed up in her power blazer, voice dripping honey. I was protecting us from liability. You all know how litigious people are these days. I was still in the hospital, but I zoomed in from my bed. Oxygen tube and all. The room went dead silent when I dropped the folder. Every fine she'd ever issued me, time-stamped. The security clips, where she bragged about teaching troublemakers a lesson. And the killer. The paramedic's body cam audio where she literally said, "That's not my problem," while a man was dying. Patty's face went white, out of context. The new board president, quiet Mr. Jenkins, who'd finally had enough, leaned forward. Patricia, you violated state emergency access laws, our own bylaws, and nearly killed a resident. You're removed, effective immediately. And the fines you've collected improperly? We're auditing every penny. She tried one last power move, standing up so fast her chair fell over. You can't do this. I built this community. Someone in the back actually laughed. Dark, bitter laughter that spread like wildfire. The helicopter downdraft had also flattened her prize rose garden. $3,000 of prize-winning flowers turned into salad. Poetic justice wrapped in rotor wash. By the time I got home a week later, the neighborhood looked different. People waved real waves, not the nervous kind. My kids ran to hug me at the door like I was some kind of action hero. The gate code was now posted publicly for every first responder in the county. And Patty? She was slapped with a civil suit from the fire department for obstructing emergency services. Plus, the HOA was pursuing embezzlement charges after the audit showed she'd funneled dues into her own consulting trips to Vegas. The final nail came at the big community meeting 2 weeks later. I walked in still a little pale but standing tall. The room was packed. For once. No clipboard, no golf cart. Just a woman who'd finally run out of rules to hide behind. When the board announced the audit results, $32,000 missing, spent on personal expenses. I swear you could hear every jaw in the room hit the floor. I stood up, voice steady for the first time in years. Patty, you spent 5 years telling us rules matter. Turns out the only rule you cared about was whatever keeps me in power. You almost took my life to protect your ego. How does it feel when the helicopter flies right over your kingdom? The room erupted in applause. Real, loud, cathartic clapping. Someone started chanting "Helicopter Hero," and it caught on. Patty's face crumpled. Regrets. Just a small, broken woman who'd finally been exposed as the tyrant she always was. She sold the house 3 months later at a loss. Last I heard, she moved to a condo downtown where there's no HOA, probably because no one would let her join another one. The new board is reasonable now. They actually listen. And every time I look out at that park behind my house, I smile. One quick thinking phone call, one daring helicopter landing, and the entire neighborhood woke up from the nightmare Karen had built. So yeah, folks, next time your HOA starts acting like a police state, remember, sometimes the only way to beat the clipboard queen is to call in air support. Justice doesn't always ride in on a white horse. Sometimes it touches down in a medical chopper, blades spinning, and flattens a few prize roses on the way. Thanks for listening to my story. Aaron, drop your own nightmare in the comments. And whatever you do, keep your gate code updated or at least have a park behind your house. Stay safe out there.